Me. Right, I'm gonna have a 2-minute lie down, and then we'll start. It's extreme power nap. I'm lying on my bed. I'll be there in a minute. Daddy's scream. Right. Long enough power nap. Right. Bam. That's me. That's what I look like. I've forgotten how to operate the stream. It's all gone. It's all gone. All my brain power. Whatever I had of it. It's gone. GG. Don't know what I was doing. I was probably lowering the volume of the music or whatever, wasn't I? That's probably it. Do that a bit. There we go. So, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope lockdown has not driven you as crazy as it has clearly driven me. At the moment, I am super tired. Like, inordinately exhausted. I don't even know if I used that word. I don't think I used that word correctly. You know what I mean? I'm tired. I've got a paintbrush in my hand. I don't know where I picked this up from. It's just in my hand a second ago. Been painting lots of stuff. Well, I've been mostly just working and doing some care stuff. So, I won't be on too long today. We'll have a bit of a talk, answer some questions. If you've got questions, if they want to ask anything. Question in brackets if you want to ask anything. I'd like to talk about the flight model stuff and the combat model on paper. We can talk about some of the 3.10 features that we're hoping / expecting. Alien Week's coming to a close, and there was lots of updates on the Vandal ships, although I say updates, we sort of saw them before previously. I don't know, I'm still pointing with this paintbrush. I'm now throwing it at my audio controller, that's probably not a good idea either. Yeah, we saw lots of updates to the Vandal ships, and I genuinely think that the Vandal ship rework is one of the really worthwhile reworks, because their ships look so much better now. So let's go this. So Scythe. That's the Stinger. That's such. Oh! Accidentally got the face of a dev. So this is like Vandal materials that they sort of like test before applying them to the ships. We can see Vandal blade here. And we know we're going to get the new updated Vandal ships at some point updated in the persistent universe, but we don't know when. But the cockpits are cool because obviously they're the Vandal cockpits because they're Vandal ships. Sort of slightly bug-eyed, creepy-crawlery. But so they had that blade done, and that sort of like it was part of the new look of the Vandal ships. But the Scythe and Glaive haven't been updated in the persistent universe yet, but eventually they will be. And the Scythe looks fucking amazing, but the Glaive looks. I love what they've done with the Glaive. It looks like it's partly salvaged. It looks like it's become more of its own ship. It looks much more heavier than it was originally. I think I just very much like it. The Scythe is very much more sort of balanced as a ship now visually. That's the old Scythe. That's the new Scythe. Look at that. Look. That just looks like. That's night and day. The previous Scythe looks very human. Like, this is like a human ship, in my opinion. That's sort of like trying to be designed to look different. Whereas the new one just looks like an alien race. It looks absolutely fantastic. As you can see, I really love these. And not everyone does. Not everyone's like as in love with them as I am, admittedly. But I genuinely think this is probably the best rework they've done. I'm not a massive fan of reworks. I think they should be spending time on moving forward with a lot of stuff. But that Scythe just looks superb. The new looks of the Vandal just looks superb. That's their sort of Glaive, but I'm not sure why it's in so much smoke. Also showing off volumetric cloud. But again, night and day with the Glaive. Glaive before was just a Scythe with another wing, right? But now it's very much its own ship. I think the Glaive's still it's a heavier fighter, but it's still a medium fighter, if you know what I mean. It's an elite medium fighter for elite Vandal. But yeah, I just sort of in love with them. I'm sort of interested to know what other people think of those Vandal ships. Oh, shite, thank you so much. Vandal ships now look fully alien. Prior is looking beautiful, but mother trucking weapon racks on the Gladius, that is huge. Okay, yeah, so actually it will be in this video as well. It'll be that. So in 3.10, at least the Gladius is getting a weapons rack, which is external to the ship, which you can interact with to put items in and take them out. So that's obviously more useful when we have physical inventories, but in the shorter term, it's still somewhere to put, you know, stolen or looted weapons. So if you've taken them from another player or you've taken them from an NPC, chuck them in there. But that's going to be in 3.10. I'm not sure if any other ships are getting them in 3.10, but the Gladius will. Gladius is sort of like gold standard and testing grounds. New atmospheric flight dynamics, yeah, we'll talk about the flight model and combat model in a minute. 3.10 may be an awesome patch. It might be. I mean, it's got some great stuff. I mean, the flight combat stuff and the trade app are probably the main things of 3.10 that excite me about it. Like, the trade app, being able to actually send money to another player, that is massive. Like, money, it's Alpha UAC on merits. And, like, there was stuff going on in the Star Citizen Trades Reddit, which is where the grey market is. People were trying to buy Alpha UEC up, which is obviously a volatile currency because they can just wipe it at any point. It's weird. I'm just really excited the fact that you can now run a mining op and you don't have to faff around so much trying to send money to each other. You can just go, bam, I'm going to send it to you. You can send it to people offline. I mean, it's really basic, but it's just so essential for Star Citizen. But the flight model, combat model, getting improvements in 3.10, as long as it's not a buggy mess, and as long as those improvements are actually improvements and are just not like a jitter rubber band death fest, I'm really, really excited for that. Will it be more stable? That's one of the major questions, isn't it, Shay? And yeah. Hey, Board, PTU Wave 1 when? It could be as early as later today. I expect it between now and early to mid next week. It's going to be based on them working through EVOCATI stuff. So I'm not 100% sure if they have a release candidate in mind at the moment. Typically, I will hear from sources that are outside of the EVOCATI sort of stuff, not within the EVOCATI, from CIG devs and stuff, when they have a release candidate sort of in mind. And I haven't heard that yet. However, it makes sense for the timing of what they want to do to have it either this week or early next week. And that's my expectation. It's just an assessment. It's just mine. But you asked. So I hope that gives you more or less information. They're still aiming for... for 3.10 Live, they've said a July release for 3.10 Live. As far as I'm aware, and what I've heard, that's going to be early July. Now, that's not a confirmation. That is just what I've heard. These aren't even as firm as Star Citizen leaks sort of information. These are someone has told me that I trust, sort of thing. Recommended start package. So recommended starting package, just grab yourself a Mustang Alpha. That's the cheapest way of getting into the game. That's $45. Bam, you got into the game. And then if you want to upgrade that later, consider maybe an Adventure Titan. But you'll be able to get everything you want in-game at some point. There are lots of ships are available to purchase in-game now and rent in-game. And I think that's a great choice for most people, at least until you know what else you like. Don't just go, well, I really want to get into the game and I want to start in the best possible place. Well, get a start ship. You can always upgrade it later if you need to. And it's a game at the end of the day where you can earn everything, so make sure you play the game. Do you know if there will be atmospheric entry animations in 3.10? I do not believe they have finished the sign distance field tech for atmospheric entry animations. There is no room in the Mustang for boxes. That is true. But did you really want to do box missions anyway? Well, no, you didn't. Get another ship for that later. Take someone else's ship. Screw you with your taking stuff in my Aurora. Put it in the little hatch in the Aurora, you monster. Rattles around in the future, crushing you. That's what's going to happen. Do you think we'll ever get server meshing, pyro, farming, base building, and the ability to change your shoe colours as a surprise in 3.10? DJ Brown, I think that some of that is unlikely. So the most likely thing there is the ability to change the colour of your shoes. So I think there's sort of like might be some customization with the Moby Glass, being able to purchase new Moby Glasses and stuff from the factory line if they get that in time. There might be some other customization stuff as well. There's going to be a lot of surprises, or there looks like there could be some surprises. The 3.10 is probably a better way of saying it. I don't know what stuff is going to stick from EVOCATI build. I don't know what stuff's going to continue and be added throughout the PTU build and added into live beyond what they already showed. Any talks about when they're going to make our drink machines in the ships work, since we have to eat and drink now? That is a good point. Now, I haven't actually heard anything about that beyond they're working on interactivity. Interactions. They're working on general interactions with lots of stuff, which I suspect also includes the eating and drinking sort of machines and storage. I think they'll be updating some of that stuff over the next couple of patches. I think with physicalized inventory and them putting, sort of like even now in 3.10, putting the weapons racks in and the gear racks in, and that's sort of like a good indication that they're getting some of this functionality maybe in the not too distant future. But again, it's something I'll have to poke CIG about when it's actually getting those things to function. That's a good point, because we sort of need them, don't we? They are adding more and more shops. They're obviously adding a knick-knack shop in 3.10 as well. I think they need somewhere to have these sort of machines in sell to be sold in-game. Sorry, I'm really tired. My brain's sort of partly broken. So apologies if I get a bit confused or whatever today. You have to bear with me. We need a shop where we can actually buy the food and drinks machines as well. I wonder if that will be a 3.11 thing. Dark Vision, have you ever heard of personal shields like Halo other than drop-down shields? No, so the only shields, as far as I'm aware, are the deployable shields that they sort of have planned. There's no sort of Dune-type shields. There's no sort of like ship shield, but for a player, for a human to run around with. Not at the moment, anyway. That's something that might change in the future, maybe. With the sign distance field tech, they could do it and make it look good. Do you know what I mean? So they could actually have it hugging a player animation if they wanted to do shields around players or people. Noah, thank you very much for becoming a board citizen, for becoming a BoredGamer member. That's very much appreciated. Good job, sir. I'm not sure if I said it. Zardy, thanks very much for subscribing. Very much appreciated. You absolute star. New flight model, oh my god. So yeah, it's not a whole new flight model. It is just updates to the current flight model. But there are some big changes with it. So ships are going to feel a lot more weighty because of jerk. Thrusters aren't going to instantly be super responsive like they are now. Well, I say responsive. It takes time for them to accelerate or to change sort of thrust in the turns and stuff. We've got aerodynamics for atmospheric flight. Atmospheric flight hugely changed by this. So with jerk and atmospheric flight and thruster efficiency curves. So aerodynamics there. You're going to actually be able to feel the sort of like the wind beneath your wings. But your shape of your ship is really, 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 really going to affect the way you fly. And the thruster efficiency curves. Thruster is going to be a lot weaker in atmosphere. So it's going to be dependent on the atmosphere and the gravity. Is there going to be more FPS? Well, there's going to be more FPS gameplay, and as they sort of like update the game, they're going to have more and more scalable and sort of try and hit higher frame rates. So when they balance a patch, well, let me rephrase that. When they do a performance pass on a patch, they try and get it to at least the same stability and frame rate as the last patch. Now, obviously, they won't be comparing that to 3.9 in the same way. They'll be trying to get the same stability and frame rates as they were in 3.8, or better. That's when they know when to push it to the next sort of stage. You're not going to see huge performance improvements when it comes to client-side stuff until they get their Gen 12 renderer stuff done with Vulkan integration and that sort of jazz. Although they are trying to make steps towards general performance improvements every time where possible. Servers are another thing that cause issues, obviously, when it comes to accessibility and that sort of stuff. I have lost weight, and I've recently changed my diet again to be quite a low-carb diet, and I've done that while also being pretty tired and generally sort of like a bit overworked at the moment. So I've been doing a video every day for the last 4 months or so, and streaming like twice a week. And I love doing what I do, don't get me wrong. I'm not going, oh, pity me. I'm not saying anything like that. I want to do that. I love doing that. I would rather not be bored. But I'm also doing some care stuff, helping out with my family and things like that, and trying to get Zin employed. So that's not too difficult, other than fiddling around with trying to get a business bank account while everything's locked down, which is hellish, because I'm trying to get appointments and stuff. But I've been having to do my accounts as well, because I'm switching over to a limited company. So I've had to do my accounts for myself, and it's just, I'm fucking shattered. And we got 3.10 potentially going to wider PTU. Well, it could go this weekend. I'm hoping it doesn't go to wider PTU this weekend. Early next week would be the best possible state for me, because I'll have to have a bit of a sleep, either later today or tomorrow or something. Hello, sir. How are you this fine day? Very tired, Harry Johnson. But I mean, it's a very first world, middle class sort of tiredness. I've been tired from playing computer games and painting too many things. I'll start taking some photos of these. In spare time, I briefly have spare time. I've been painting stuff. I've got painting these guys up, finishing off my Arriva Titans. I've got 4 of them over there. They're fully painted now. For Adaptus Titanicus. So that I can then start work on my 40k stuff. So I'm building a big knight army for 40k from Adaptus Mechanicus and Imperial Knights. So I've got a load of I've got one of each of the sort of Cerestus Knights. So the Castigator and the Lancer and that sort of stuff. And I'm planning to go up at some point after lockdown and play some of the CIG guys at 40k and see if we can get something out of it, maybe content, even if it's just some cool photos or whatever. LCIG, we need night vision, please. I believe that night vision and different vision modes are a planned thing in the future. At least they were on their radar, as it were. They talked about having scopes or goggles or filters for it a while ago. They just haven't confirmed anything past that. Oh, I shouldn't be competing for views. I didn't realise that Star Citizen Live was actually on. My bad. I thought it was on. I'm the worst. Was it a sound episode? It'll be fine. We're all good. We're good. I think we're fine. I'll have to check it out later. Am I a bad person for smuggling in Star Citizen? What, you smuggling Star Citizen in what, into your office? For actually smuggling? No. I mean, I think that even a lot of lawful players will do a bit of smuggling, I think. I think if there's something valuable enough they can get away with, you know what I mean? Smugglers unite. Do you think that 3.9's game-breaking bug, unable to retrieve ship, will be fixed in 3.10? Yes. I think they've been working on some of the back-end services and database issues that 3.9 had, and I think that they should be largely fixed in 3.10. Doesn't mean there won't be more problems with 3.10, though. Why are people sending me money? I'm sleepy and I'm tired. Loweffortstream.com. Hey, board, it's me again. Hi, DJ Brown. Do you think we, with the introduction of Jerk, we will see more wear on engines when we make sudden changes in direction? So I think that will be at least the eventual goal. So when you put your thrusters, when you strain them, when you put them, when you use them more often, when they overheat, when they get very hot, when they get near their limits, that's going to cause more wear and the potential for them to misfire more often. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Will we have that in 3.10? Maybe a little bit more wear on them. I don't 100% know. What else have we got here? We saw a new UI for the Gladius. Is that new UI something we will see on all ships? Yeah, so they're updating the UIs on effectively all ships because they need to get their UI up to a standard that is sort of like ready for Squadron 42, and then it will be updated for the rest of the ships for the persistent universe. I'm not sure what the sort of like timescale is for that. So for people that want to see this. So typically the Gladius is used as the gold standard for a lot of stuff, but they wanted to get a lot of these MFDs and general cockpit functionality up to a state where it was really sort of like diegetic and immersive. So all of the idea is that each switch will have a function related to it, and you could press them yourself if you wanted to, or you could use a hotkey, but if you use a hotkey, your character will actually press them, and they all have function. And then there's, obviously they might get the MFDs up to a much better standard, and give you like proper useful information. And the new building blocks UI system allows them to get this stuff built out. Hopefully, that will be something we'll start to see in 3.11. I don't believe it's in 3.10 for the Gladius, but yeah, very, very excited for that sort of stuff. Because it's sort of getting closer to a final state, what we'll want to see for Squadron 42 and that sort of jazz. Nice and clean as well. It all reminds me of Battlestar Galactica for some reason. Not sure if it's just a colour thing. I appreciate the love. What else have we got? To everyone, what happens when we realise Bored has been an AI machine the whole time? I mean, I'm a pretty poorly programmed AI. But you'll see those UIs. You should see them updated for all ships at some point. Maybe not the exact same UI as that, but an updated UI. Is there a potato on my screen? Wow. More mid to large-sized alien ships for players. Personally, I think some mid-sized ships for the Vandal. So you'll see a load of different ranges of alien ships in game. Now, a lot of them aren't going to be actively player sort of like accessible, or at least not easily. Like players getting a kingship, I do expect in the far, far future, but I don't expect that when the kingship's in game that players will be able to use it or access it. Beyond fighting it. At some point they'll be able to board it and attack it, but I still don't think they'll be able to get it until much later into development or after release. That sort of thing. Because I think they are Vandal ships, they are Vandal controls. You'd have to effectively salvage them and get them re-humified. You need a humidifier. Shut up. But more flyable alien ships, or alien ships that are made for the human market. Yeah, I mean, they've got a Tavaran fighter and a Xi'an cargo ship planned. Xi'an cargo ship might be reasonably large. Obviously, you've got the Banu Merchantman, which is quite a big ship. I think we'll see more, almost certainly. And over the sort of like lifetime of the project, you'll see lots and lots and lots of alien ships, I suspect. Do you think the Mercury Star Runner will be delayed? I hope not. I've seen no indication that it will be delayed, but it could be. Are they planning on putting some alien counters in the persistent universe anytime soon? I don't know. Well, it won't be anytime soon. There won't be alien encounters in the persistent universe anytime soon. Because they haven't finished getting the alien stuff in game yet. You'll see space cows at some point in the not too distant future. I suspect they want to have like the Yeti on Microtech. They want to have the Pyro Crab in the Pyro system, the terrifying Pyro Crab, Pyro Yeti, Microtech Yeti, Pyro Crab, this Cthulhu-looking mother trucker. but you will see alien encounters in the future. I think people want, like, are hoping for xenomorph encounters and things like that. And CIG have said, yeah, they want some terrifying creatures and some things that might stalk you and things. And they've been working on different types of animal, sort of like more tiger, stalking their prey type creatures, as well as bears, which are more like the Yeti. With the refinery decks coming in 3.11, that's where it's targeted at the moment anyway. You think it's likely we'll actually see the Orion soon? No. The Orion is a massive mining ship. I don't believe it's in active development. But you'll see more function coming with refinery decks and cargo decks for the next few sort of like patches. And hopefully we'll see like maybe the Hull C at the end of the year. What do you think the plan is on all capital ships? Will they need a majority vote to be flown? I mean, a lot of players will have invested on buying them. So the captain will be able to set permissions, as far as I'm aware, to basically enforce what type of crew roles everyone else has. So basically what they say goes, or what the officers say, that people that have got the most permissions. That's the way I'd see it. It's going to come down to how you run your org, how you run your ship and that sort of stuff as well. Could you run it like a Roman forum? Could you do it by democracy? Yeah. How effective would that be? I don't know. Any talk of treasury feature for orgs or ship sharing with org members? So only sort of like lightly talked about with like orgs 2.0 and stuff. There's going to be more org features. There's going to be ways of sharing stuff with players, selling it to them, trading with them, permission system so that some people can use your ship. And that the assumption there is that there will be some form of org bank, org hangar, and that sort of stuff, and the ability to give people access to your ships when you're offline by setting permissions for them. Is there confirmation on that? Not really, but I mean, it's a needed feature. Without getting into details that would break NDA, what do you think about the announced flight and fight combat changes for 3.10? So, I mean, we can talk about the post that they sort of like brought up. So, Jerk and the flight model stuff is sort of like starting to evolve the flight model somewhat. Jerk gives stuff, makes ships feel a bit heavier even in space, and that potentially is not a bad thing. It could cause ships to not be so. It could cause dogfighting to be a lot more interesting and a little bit slower, as well, I say, and also have the sort of like skill curve a lot higher, like a skill ceiling that's a lot higher, so that great pilots can do some really cool stuff, but also you can start to use like jerk to your advantage, the delayed sort of movements and stuff, and when you're like targeting and fighting someone else. The atmospheric changes for aerodynamics and efficiency curves for thrusters, they've been sorely needed. We needed some way of differentiating atmospheric flight properly from space flight, and these on paper look like great additions. Aerodynamics, obviously I want ships to fly differently in atmosphere based on whether they'd fly well in atmosphere, and the efficiency curves, having thrusters less powerful and actually be under strain in atmosphere, that makes a lot of sense. Also, if you think about it, when you get hit by missiles or damaged when you're in atmosphere, it's going to be a lot more dangerous. If one of your thrusters gets damaged, you might not be able to maintain your height anymore, and you might crash. If you get knocked about, you're aerodynamic, so that could cause you to briefly like spiral out of control and hit the ground. I really like the ideas of this stuff on paper, and then eventually they're going to evolve that somewhat, so it's not the final stage by any means. But I really like the idea of the sort of flight model changes on paper. For combat, now, basically they've said that you can target someone now, and they know that you're targeting them, which is cool. You can also pin targets based on your sort of like targeting computer, or at least eventually, based on your targeting computer, you can have multiple targets sort of pinned and then cycle between them. But I love the idea of feedback for you are being targeted by the ship. That's good to know. I just think that's really useful. They say they've improved ESP and fixed weapon aiming, as well as turret stabilization and aiming as well, and pip calculation. Again, on paper, really great ideas. essential for the game. Now, with the aiming changes and the sort of like aiming improvements, making aiming easier effectively, could that mean that they've dumbed down combat? It could. So, and we'll need to thoroughly test it to make sure that there's still a lot of reward for flying with fixed weapons, for being a good pilot, for choosing the right loadout for the right situation. I mean, I want auto gimbals to be useful, and I want them to be, I suppose, competitive to a degree, but I don't want them to be the meta in all situations. I think the idea with the combat changes they want to have here is that they want lots of different meta. They want it to be spread around. They want you to bring the right ship for with the right tools for the right job. And some ships, even if they're piloted by a better pilot, they're going to get outdone by someone that's got the right ship at the right time. And again, I suppose conversely, some people are going to get outdone by the better pilots. They've also got this like high-speed combat stuff. Now, the high-speed combat stuff, I think, needs a bit more work because it's not really doing much yet. When you go too fast, at the moment, your sort of like slew speeds, so your gimbal speeds, and sort of like target locking is slowed. It's not doing that much yet. High-speed combat stuff, I was expecting for it to use a huge amount more power, so that you couldn't really maintain shields in the same way, and that could cause you maybe not be able to go into quantum. You might not be able to go to quantum while you're going at that sort of high speed. So that's the sort of thing I like the idea of, because otherwise people just constantly run away from each other, and I don't want combat to be jousting. And you can see with these changes, they're literally trying to avoid joust combat where possible. They want dogfighting anyway to be reasonably close so that you can see the ships that you're shooting. So I really like the ideas of it. I really like what's going on there. It's sort of like a nice platform now for them to put in, slot in, as it were, physicalized components and the physical damage system, which are essential as well for these changes to then get into a more finalized state, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Like, this is good, and they can evolve this a bit, but they need physicalized components to finish it off. But you'll have the chance to try that stuff out pretty soon. Any Vandal ships with interior on the horizon? Not that I'm aware of. Not that we're going to see in the near future. Well, when you get Squadron 42's release, expect some of the interior for some of the Vandal ships to be done. Like, I suspect some of the interior for the King ship will be done, because I'm sure at some point you'll board it, and things like that. And obviously that some of the interior has been done because we've seen it. But will the ships handle differently due to the redesign? Yes, because the thrusters will be in slightly different places, and they've got the new changes to the flight model and flight model. So they handle differently anyway. The intention of the ships should always remain the same when they're balanced. And what I mean by that is that if something is supposed to be a light interceptor / fighter or whatever, then it's going to have that role still. If something like the Xi'an ships, they're reworking a lot of the way they move around, because they want them to be these sort of like very responsive, agile strafers and things like that. I'd expect to see the Squadron 42 update of some kind later this month. I'm hoping they get that Squadron 42 video out. And they sort of need to, I think. Any news on that sweet board merchandise? I'll get Zin to design it at some point when she's working for me properly. I want to get a board hoodie for everyone in my trailer park. Caravan bug. Thanks, bud. Thanks, Shay. I appreciate that. A whole caravan park looking like... Oh, wait. Thanks, I think. Is the Banu Defender a good daily driver? I'm not a fan of the Banu Defender. I think there's so many other better choices for sort of like a long-range fighter. It depends what you want to use it for as well. So, I mean, in some situations, it's going to be good. I really liked the Banu Defender, and then I sort of like fell out of love with it. Does CIG allow multiple accounts or multi-boxing Love Your Board? So, okay, you certainly will be able to have multiple accounts, yeah, and you'll certainly be able to, if you can work out a way of doing it, multi-box. However, to what degree you're able to do that in Star Citizen, how dangerous that will be, is another matter, because it is a first-person game that you're taking control of a ship in. Have you tried to multi-box in Apex Legends? That would be pretty difficult. Bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to buy out. So many spaceships.
Have a cold one on me. Cheers.
What did something? He did something while I was away. What be done. Bobby Yaga, why have you sent me money? Have a gold one on me. Cheers, thanks. I will. That's what I want to do. So it's Father's Day in the UK on Sunday, and I've bought my dad some really expensive. 25 quid a steak, sirloins from some nice grain-fed beef, and some Birico pork, as well as some Cornish fairings that he likes. So I've got some cider in the fridge that I've just put in there, which I'll take out for that as well, and I'll have like a barbecue on the Sunday, I think. That's the plan at the moment. Thank you so much, very much appreciated, Bobby Yaga. Thank you very much for everyone that's chucked money at me randomly. It is appreciated. What is that jarhead in the background actually you? Oh, come on. Look. I might look different to my voice. Do you know anything new at painting ships? Not that I can talk about. Expect more customization coming in the near future. There you are. Maybe. Question mark. Prowler Glaive Scythe sales. What gives? Question mark. So they're not on sale. They haven't been updated for the Persistent Universe yet. So sort of like, I think it'd be disingenuous to sell them like now when they just revealed them. It was weird they weren't on sale during Alien Week, admittedly. So I would expect to see them on sale in the future, though. Again. Dave West, thank you very much for becoming a BoredGamer member, citizen, person. On my YouTube as well at the moment. On the YouTube, some people in certain countries, such as the UK and Brazil and some other countries that have YouTube Prime, or the YouTube sort of like super membership thing, you might be able to subscribe to a content creator, join their membership thing for free. Maybe? Question mark. Probably channel memberships. Some people might get that for free. If you do have it for free, you can always click on mine. Even if you don't, you can always click on mine and give me money. Bam! Yeah. That's why I'm a poster boy for things like Shadow and NordVPN. I'm so good at doing promotions. Why haven't they said anything about that refining ship, even though it was the most upvoted during CitizenCon? Upvoted is a little bit of a rough sort of thing. It was the most shouted about, and it sort of like won the popular appeal of the ships they were talking about of those four. So there's a Tavaran fighter, there's a mining vehicle, the Grin Rock, we're assuming the Greycat Industrial Rock. There's the Xi'an cargo ship, Terran fighter, and then there's the mobile refinery ship. I suspect that they'll want to get refinery decks in first before finishing a concept of a refinery ship. So yeah, out of all of those, the refinery ship probably would need the most work, in my opinion. Will the Aspera Blade have the new cockpit shown in inside Star Citizen? I don't believe so. I believe those cockpits are for Vandal, because the Vandal are larger and they sit in their seats differently. How are people standing in chairs? That's just how you sit in the future. With your feet on top of the chair. Do you think with the new flight mechanics, the mass of the ship will come into play with the thrusters? It will be factored in to how the ship flies. Will the exact mass and cargo be worked out yet? I'm not sure in 3.10 if your cargo and the actual mass of your ship will affect your flight on planets. However, it may, or at least it will in the future. Racers already have inadequate thrusters. Are you saying they're going to get worse? They're going to get different. Yeah, they're going to have jerk. So worse is they're not going to be as responsive, but it's going to be across the board, and there's going to be different types of thrusters and tuning that you can do for those racing ships. But everyone's getting them. So what I mean is that if you're racing against other people, you're racing with the same sort of tools available to you. Do you know what I mean? But racing is competitive with those other people. Do you know why they've already worked on Layer 3 and the Sandworm when it was so far from Stanton? It was more for sort of like tech demo purposes. I mean, some of it's concept work and that sort of stuff for coolness. It's also just a general tech test for their sort of like procedural tech and planetary tech as well at the time. Congrats on the weight loss. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself, you damn potato. Thanks. Oh. God damn it. So I've done them as sort of like Legio Metallica-ish. My Ruvatones there. They're sort of like... They're a little bit like a load of different Legions, because the way I've painted them isn't really 100% specific to them. Is it Legio... Ignatum might actually be one of them as well, that's sort of like in between. Yeah, I've painted them like that as well. So it's like a mixture of that and the Fire Wasps, I think. It's a mixture of Legio Metallica, Legio Ignatum, and the Fire Wasps.
Woo one, yeah. Keep doing what you do.
Come here, Boris. Thank you very much. A whole year. I'm so sorry that you've had to be subscribed to me for that long. That's sort of like a one-year challenge that you've now completed. Good job. How about a ship loaning mechanism like Alpha UEC transfer, where you can loan a ship to an org member for a time frame you can set on the app? I suspect that a permission system and that sort of stuff, the robust permissions like that will probably be available in the future. It depends on how CIG see these things being used and the reasons for that. We need to be able to lend ships to other people, give them to other people, sell them to other people, have permissions so that people can use them when we're not there, so that you can have fleet owners and things like that. Can you show us some of that Night Army? Yes, when it's done. At the moment, I've half built one of the Cerestus Knights, and I've built a load of the Cerberus Raiders, whatever the hell they're called, the Mechanicum Cavalry. Building a load of them. I've sort of like they have like mechanical horses, but I wanted mine to be knightly, so I've got like a mechanical horse for each of the alphas, the guys leading them, and then I've converted the rest out of some dark elf horses or something, some the Warhammer Age of Sigmar stuff. But yes, I will start photographing that and sticking it on my social media as well. How is this game? I hear it's too buggy to really enjoy. It's very enjoyable and the project's enjoyable. The game is not a sit down and play enjoy game, unless you're doing it as a tourist. So literally, with the major releases of patch and events, having a look around is going, oh, this is pretty, oh, this is cool, oh, this is cool. It's a frustrating experience when there are bugs or problems that you are experiencing, for sure. If you've got an organisation that you've joined, you can have hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of fun, I'd say. Just doing sort of like quite cool sandboxy things, but it's not a much in the way of progression yet. Do you think it would be cool or lame to have an outer space vacation resorting game? I suspect they'll very much have that. They'll have social spaces like that. Do I think it'll be cool enough? Is it that? Yeah, it'll be cool. Why not? Like A90 jumps, for God's sake. Space yachts. So just checked my YouTube subscription. I'm not sure I'm showing a subscribe to your channel. The mysteries of YouTube unsubscribing people. You don't need to be subscribed to participate in my YouTube giveaways. You just have to comment on the videos. I made it so simple, and I didn't, because some people have like private subscriptions and stuff as well. Grant Green, thank you very much. Very much appreciated for becoming a board member. Board, I know you can't say much, but as EVOCATI, can you tell us simply if you like or dislike the new flight model stuff? From what I've seen of the new flight model stuff, I like it. It does need more work in some areas. On paper. From what we've seen from the article. You'll have it in your hands pretty soon. So you'll be able to see it. And I'll be able to talk about it a lot more. I'm not as going to be as informed about flight model stuff as other players that really care about how it acts at the moment are. What I mean by that is that I'm not a competitive dogfighter. I'm not super into PvP. And I'm very much in the opinion of they will get to a great stage with the flight model eventually. But I don't know where that is until it's there. So when I'm talking about what I want out of something, I don't really know what I want out of it. I can tell you what I like and don't like by seeing it and feeling it. And I can say, actually, this might be good with a bit of this, but I'm just not going to be... Like, Noobify's going to be much better at talking about it. Moist Noodle is going to be much better at talking about it. It's probably even Salty Mike's going to be better at talking about it than me. The Rogue Squadron guys and people like that, they're going to be probably pretty good at talking about the flight model and explaining what they sort of want from it. I mean, I probably should sit down and have a good think and write a bit of a video or a document or something about the flight model and what I like about it and what I don't, what I think about it. There was the helicopter gate, so I feel sort of a little bit guilty, only a little bit, for the change from the helicopter sort of flight mode to the IFCS assist hover mode stuff. Like, okay, I didn't want my ship to fly like a helicopter when I was really close to the ground. Okay, when you're landing, you can't have it too complicated to land for players that are derps. Like, if I'm being derpy or just lazy, I still know how to land effectively easily. Now, I did not like that flight model element just when landing. Everything else was fine. I actually quite liked being a helicopter, thinking about it. I think there's probably some clips of me going, "I don't want to be a helicopter," quite angrily, but that's not what I meant, or at least I misspoke. It's specifically with landing. I don't think landings would be prohibitive or too difficult, and I think that when people were close to the ground, the helicopter mode was a little bit too sensitive, and it should have dialed back a lot. I don't want to see ships floating turrets, but with the flight model that they've got at the moment and the atmospheric flight changes that they are putting in and clearly have it in mind, I think that we are onto a winner. I've been considering buying Star Citizen, but I've heard that it has occasional wipes that will be happening until full release. Is that somehow affecting the ability to fully immerse yourself in the game, or are they passable? I mean, the fact that the game is in alpha will prevent you from fully emerging yourself. So there are bugs sometimes, there are major changes and updates, and the game doesn't have many of its gameplay loops yet. It is very fun, it is very cool. It's, as I said, it's very much a tourist experience at the moment. So without an organisation, if you're just looking to sit down and play the game, you're going to get a good amount of hours out of it. I'm testing some stuff out and playing with it, and every major patch release you can come back and have a look to see what's changed. But without the actual progress of like a full game, and without all the gameplay loops, and without all the mechanics, and the stuff constantly being updated, and some stuff just entirely unfinished, it isn't a proper sit down and play game. It is alpha for a reason. So its mileage is going to vary for what you sort of want from a game. Also, if you are going to get it, you can always upgrade your ship later. Just grab it yourself a starter pack. Find an org you want to join. If you find an org you want to join and you like the people there, you will have thousands of hours of fun in that game. So I asked a question on Spectrum to a dev a while back about where Star Citizen is heading. What does it mean being a Star Citizen? Wanted to hear your thoughts on it. Specifically, to what extent will an individual be able to influence the entire universe? Bill Gates. Oh, so yeah, I mean, an individual will be able to have a huge influence on the verse. Like, if you're in charge of an org or you've got a particularly large amount of money, you'll be able to massively affect the economy. It's player-influenced economy rather than player-led and entirely player-controlled like in EVE. So there is a simulation element to it, quite a large simulation element to it, where NPCs will also go out and consume resources, farm resources, and use your sort of like materials that you've got for other purposes. But yeah, you could effectively build gates. So they're going to be people that are in charge of massive orgs, which are hugely influential in certain things, and they could declare war on certain things, or they could entirely leave a system, or go and swarm a system like locusts and nom it all up and stuff. So I suspect that sort of stuff's going to be a lot of player influence there. In the same way as EVE, no. So CIG can always rein it back if they want to. They are in charge more of that simulation element. So it'll be interesting to see. Oh, I saw the Hyperlight Drifter Studios new game thing. I was like, it looks cool. Do you think we're getting Star Citizen worm riding? We need this feature. Even if we don't get it to any degree, I suspect people will give it a damn good go. Burnfails, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the raid. Much appreciated. You star. Hope your stream was good. Alright, what else have we got? You can ask what you want. It's all good. Right, looking forward to Pyro. Any idea if they're planning to have gates guarded? I'm assuming there's going to be prick gate campers. Yes, so I would expect in the future that CIG will go, oh yeah, we need security by gates. I would almost 100% think that's a certainty. Only at certain gates, though. Yeah? So the security levels, I suspect, will be very similar to that of EVE Online, and that some gates will be heavily guarded, whereas others won't be. Some people will be able to gate camp effectively. But I think there will also be temporary wormholes that might appear as part of the exploration mechanics around that you can use to get to other systems that avoid the actual main jump point gates. Did the lockdown affect development a lot? So it certainly had an effect on development. A lot of CIG are still working from home. In fact, they probably all are, or mostly. Some of them, they certainly lost at least a month, effectively, with them having to retool and get like PCs to people and all that sort of stuff, and work out how they were going to do a lot of stuff. I'd say at least a month. But they were very lucky in the fact that they were already geared for remote sort of like working. They worked with a lot of people on contract and that sort of stuff that weren't working from the office before. They're a multi sort of national studio, so they were transferring data all around as well before. So they've had to re-gear some stuff, like they can't send these huge builds to everyone every day constantly. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it might actually allow them to save a lot more money in the future, because they'll go, actually, some people can just work from home after this all lockdown stuff. Like, some people work really efficiently from home. Educated guess on when the Orion might come on sale again. Well, we know it should be on sale at the end of November again, because that's the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, where they basically sell all the ships. And I was expected to go on sale again, maybe when the mining vehicle goes on sale. Maybe the mining vehicle's in 3.10. Maybe. Do you think we'll get a Banu bounty / slavery ship? I mean, maybe to an extent. I think it's more likely you'll get stuff that enables you to have those prisoner pods or similar as cargo. Will we be able to have alien mounts? They have not confirmed alien mounts. I would not expect alien mounts in the short to mid-term. Will there be some dogfight missions in atmosphere that we can do in 3.10 for us to give a good solid reason to fly around the atmosphere? They've got the tech to be able to do it. They've got the stuff in there to be able to allow for NPCs to fly in atmosphere now. I don't know if there is going to be any missions that support that in 3.10 yet. Not that I've seen yet. Will the Banner Merchantman ever arrive? I would expect to see the Polaris first, because the Polaris needed less concept work done to it. Any news on the Titan suit? No. No news on the Titan suits. I know Star Citizens have been created for PC only, but do you agree that there's a slight chance that CIG could do a deal with Sony or Microsoft in the future for the next-gen consoles? Yes. I do think there's a chance for that. Especially for Squadron. I think the Star Runner will actually make it for 3.11. Yeah, I think it's a high possibility for 3.11. It's been out of 9 out of 99 tasks for a while. Yeah, so don't worry too much about the amount of tasks, because they're not accurately updated on the roadmap, it seems. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to be around for too long today. I am absolutely shattered. I'm going to go have a nap in a bit. Any suggestions for budget flight controllers? The T16000 is a great joystick / HOTS setup. What do you think about Star Wars Squadrons? I wish they showed some. I want to see some proper gameplay of that in a lot more detail. 5v5 Squadron battles? Yeah, could be cool if they do it right in Star Wars. Nice and gritty. Will the Argo Mole be rentable in 3.10? Expect CIG to be putting more ships in to buy and rent in 3.10 and future patches. I can't talk to you about the specifics of what is in, but the CIG idea of light is so silly. Bandit Defender and Xi'an Cartu Al are both way too big for the low armament and fragility they have. I suspect them to get a bit of balance. I mean, the Cartu Al literally has got a big buff that's coming for 3.10, so. Do you think we'll see Squadron 42 beta this year? I think Squadron 42 beta could be complete this year, yes, it's a possibility still, but we're not going to see that. We're not going to see the beta that's an internal beta. We have a translation of that Banu announcement. What does it say? It's fluff, from what I can tell. So there's this document. You can go on Reddit to see it. People have been working on it. We find them people's names first to give credit to before we actually look at this properly. All these gentlemen from Orwuk, Vizo, and a load of others in between. And there's lots of other people that were working on the documents as well. So they basically is just a greeting to humans, is what it looks like. Just saying, we could give you gifts, but we know that you would prefer people saying Happy First Contact Day. That's how we show we appreciate humans. And humans and Banu are different, lol. But why don't you tell us about your trading relations with other species? That would be good. That's basically what it says. But Banu and humans like each other and they're good trading partners. It's basically what it says. And then it talks about sort of like clothing pins and they're small things. It was a fluff thing. Once it's been... I'll look at it in a bit more detail once people have gone over it a few more times to get it a bit more refined. Oh, Dominus, thank you so much. You rock. I appreciate that. I mean, I don't. I look like a sort of like rock, maybe. Or a potato. Darren Lamborn. It is. Do we have an update on 3.10? No, it's with EVOCATI at the moment. We're expecting... I'm expecting 3.10 to go to PTU as early as this weekend, although it's more likely sort of like early, middle of next week, in my opinion. Do you think the price of the Constellation series will go up when docking it becomes a feature? No, I don't expect the price of currently flyable ships is unlikely to go up much, if at all. It might be adjusted for real-life inflation or stuff like that. Do you think the Mercury Star Runner is coming with skins/skin customization in 3.11, like the Origin 300? So you're going to see more and more ships have the ability to change skins, and more and more skins and paints to be available for them from patch to patch. Take that as you want it. So take that as you... Take that for what you want. I can't remember the saying now. Has there been any further information regarding the synergy between the Banner Merchantman and the Defender? No, they've not confirmed anything yet. I would expect some form of at least light docking between them. Any chance for future sales of actual Vandal ships? Not Speria. No. I mean, technically you could get captured rehumanified ones. In the future, I suspect you'll be able to buy Vandal ones off other players that they've actually captured. What else have we got here? Any news on the Hercules? Looks like we're getting the Hercules for Q4 2020. But that's not confirmed, that's just probable. Does the PTU affect your persistence in any way in the PU? No. PTU is entirely separately... The PTU is entirely separate from the live build of the game. The persistent universe exists in both the PTU and the live build. But the PTU and the live build are separate. Do you think the price of the Constellation... we talked about that. Talked about that. Do you think we'll see personal inventory, lockers, and stuff in 3.10? So, we know that we're getting, at least for the Gladius and potentially other ships, a item/weapons place to put your stuff. Let me bring this up on the screen again. Little itemy lockers. Look at this. Look at this in the Gladius. Open a little door. It's really like the fact it's got a little weapons rack now. But that could be not just in the Gladius, it might be in other ships as well. They might have made some of those functional on ships, maybe. That's the sort of stuff that I'd expect for potentially for 3.10. But personal inventory, they're still building the UI for it, so we're not going to have that yet. Or at least physicalized inventory anyway. Considering Vandal versus human cockpits, what will the Glaive have? It's a legit Vandal, not a Superior. It's still salvaged and made for humans, as in geared for humans. It will still have to have a human cockpit, as far as I'm aware. Will the Herald's new function with the new flight mechanics be for making holes in planets? Still no plan to sell the scythe again? Not as far as I'm aware. Will that new HUD in the Gladius be coming to the Pirate Gladius as well? It's the same ship. Same ship, different skin. But you're not going to see that new HUD in 3.10 as far as I'm aware. Do you remember all this stuff off the top of your head? I remember some of it off the top of my head. Other stuff's in my notes, but I look at my notes daily while looking at the new news and then adding and changing the notes. So I've got a reasonable updated timeline in my head to an extent. But I mean, I focus on it for a job, so I mean, I should know a good amount about it. When will Crusader be out? I feel like it was showcased at CitizenCon years ago. Crusader was never showcased. Was it? Huh? So they want Crusader for Q4 2020 as well, as far as I'm aware, and Horizon, its landing zone. Wasn't the Carrack team supposed to be split apart and sent to the Banded Merchant when that's finished? Did this happen? So the Carrack finished, and I think that they're doing some potentially light rework on the 600i, and I think the Polaris is actually next on the list after the current ships that they're working on, before the Banded Merchantman, because there's less concept work to do on the Polaris, and it's pretty high priority still. What do you think will release first, Crusader Landing or Pro System? Probably Crusader Landing, although they're making pretty good progress on Pro. With VTOL, with the Cutlass still overheating easier under the new flight model, as the main thrusters are off-center, so would still use maneuvering thrusters. I mean, they'll use both maneuvering and VTOL in atmosphere, even if you've got them in the VTOL mode. It's just the VTOL engines won't overheat so much, is the idea. Did the Caterpillar get VTOL? I don't think it has any VTOL engines, does it? The Caterpillar is not one you want to... You're not going to want to land on a lot of planets, especially when it's fully laden, in my opinion. Yeah, CitizenCon 2020 has been cancelled. Were the resources that were freed from that offset some of the lockdown issues, keeping Squadron 42 VTOL on track as announced? Maybe. I mean, it's going to be a boon for them when it comes to development, not having CitizenCon. They're about to get more stuff developed rather than take time off to do CitizenCon stuff. Financially, might not be as beneficial to them because it's a big hype fest and it makes them a lot of money. However, CIG probably will do CitizenCon 2021 probably in the first half or first quarter of next year, in my opinion, because I suspect they'll want to get marketing stuff ready for Squadron 42 and some major release announcements. Will there be some dogfight missions in atmosphere that we can do in 3.10 for us to give a good, solid reason to fly around atmosphere? We talked about that. Will there be orbital planetary bombardment? If your weapons have enough range, technically when they're servo meshing, they should be able to hit a planet's surface. Although, will their damage be massively reduced because of the range they've travelled? Maybe. They've sort of talked about it, and they said, maybe planetary bombardment, maybe not. And then They talked about their tech, and then they've talked about the weapon ranges and stuff. And the service should be tracking weapon fire, and if it's got the range, it should hit where it hits. Would orbital bombardment and planetary bombardment be effective? Probably pretty inaccurate. Isn't it high time that landing gear controls are separated from the wings? I think they will be fully separate at some point. How to recover my armor after prison? Oh. If it's not in your character anymore, then it's gone for the short term. You'd have to reset your account to get those items back, I think. Do you think with refineries and cargo stations? Sorry. Do you think with refineries and cargo sections for space stations in 3.11 we might see the first implementation of Quanta AI showed at CitizenCon? So they're working towards Quanta. They want to get the dynamic mission system and the dynamic economy in as soon as possible, the first iterations for it. However, they need the iCache and a few other sort of like technical things completed. Could we see some of this stuff this year? Yeah. Could we see it for 3.11? It's possible, but unlikely. So we might see... We could see something from Quanta start to turn up there, the dynamic missions maybe. I'm thinking more Q4 2020 is more likely. Will the F7A Hornet upgrade work on the Super Hornet, or is it just a regular Hornet? It's just a skin as far as I'm aware. Do you think the changes to ship tracking targeting will improve stealth gameplay? Yes. At least it's built with that in mind. But we need physicalized components. We need some of the signature and radar updates first as well. Aren't you the Bill Gates of the PTU? Why would I be Bill Gates of the PTU? I don't make enough money. How do you feel about being able to take down unarmed civilian NPCs? Do you think it would be a controversial addition to the game? I mean, you're going to be able to do that to an extent. I mean, there's going to be missions. You're going to be able to be people that are criminal. Why my pee-pee so hard? Because you're looking at a beautiful potato boy, and now you need to question your life choices. Do you think there will be unsupervised smuggling routes? I think the most smuggling routes will be unsupervised, surely. Into main stations via sewers or maintenance shafts. Yes. And the reason I think that, well, almost certainly will be, there's reasons that they talked about for places like Levski and stuff, having these sort of like caverns that you could go through and come up from behind, and like even going through different sort of like gates at Norville and things like that, potentially are less risky than others. So you could like potentially turn off the scanners or the sensors, or have a mission to do that, turn off one of the gates so that you can pass through customs without getting the scanners detect you. Things like that. Or do you think the CIG will wipe the servers on the next update? They have not confirmed whether they are or not. I would not expect them to wipe until they say they're going to. I know that's a bit of a I don't know, but they have not confirmed if they are or if they are not. Wallaby Gaming, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Do you expect we will ever have Star Wars Galaxies 2? What? What? Maybe? Any thoughts on what the banning message means? Are we getting a new concept or in-game item? I think it's just them saying, we love you, humans, as trading partners. Go team. I think it was sort of just like that. I've lost. Will I be able to walk into Lawville City or ArcCorp City and perform actions, missions, trade on the black market, etc. there? Yes. In the future, yes. AI is the major hurdle for Squadron 42. Yeah, AI and the blending of that with animations appropriately. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the main thing. So this made changes to the Cartier Al special fight mechanics. Do you think they will work on the Santok Yai to be released soon? I mean, I think that all ships will see a bit of a rebalance. I'm not sure when the Santok Yai is coming. I don't think it's an indication that the Santok Yai is coming now or anything. Cool if it does come in 3.10 or 3.11 or something, but I haven't heard anything. Any idea when they'll make the weapons rack on the Sentinel work? I mean, it's possible for 3.10. Obviously, we've seen that they're putting the Gladius one in for 3.10. Could they make the ones that are already in-game functional? Yeah, they could. Can we expect the Pyro Crab to eat people alive? No, I think they'll eat them when they're dead, but it will also kill them. Hey, Board, can I ask you a question? On your last live, but you must have missed the answer one more time. Any word on facial hair or tats or scars and stuff like that? You will be able to have more customization of your character in the future. Sort of like you'll be able to do it in-game with like piercings and tattoos and things like that is the expectation, and tattoos and things like that. I think one of the other things is that you're going to be in the military in Squadron, so the creation of your character might be separate from those form of customizations which affect the way your character looks with like piercings and tattoos. Maybe you'll have to do that from a tattoo parlor or something in-game, but not from the character customization screen. Do you see what I mean? Can you tell us about your possible work with Star Citizen Leaks? What did they propose? So they just asked me to come onto the show, and I don't have the time at the moment. So I don't have time to go on anyone's podcasts, or unlikely to anyway, or do like org spotlights and stuff like I want to at the moment, just because I have to be available at any time to go to care for my dad. I can barely fit in doing streaming. The joy of being able to do videos, though, is that I can just wake up whenever I want, and I can... I've got like plans for videos already written down, and I can just do them and then pop them out. And the fact that Zin's going to be working for me soon as well is a massive boon to my free time. I do need after the stream in a minute. I'm going to go for a nap, and then I'm going to sort my fucking life out. Do you think they will be utilizing the dragon mechanic that is being implemented for bounty missions when taking in a prisoner alive? Yes, I think that's one of the things it will be used for. Do you see the lack of the Squadron 42 update cause for concern in terms of their current progress? I see it as at least a form of concern. I want to see updates. I'm not seeing updates. Give me updates. Will the HUD rework make them easy to use, or have keybinds for comms, etc.? Yes, for both. Why are you sending me money, DJ Brand? Stop it! Thanks for streaming. I look forward to these every week. I appreciate that. I look forward to your money every week. No, why? I thank you. You star. Very much appreciated. That's very kind of you as well to say that. I mean, nice big ego. Will they say the Polaris then? The Polaris will go back on sale again eventually. Yeah. Yeah. So I think a realistic way of looking at Star Citizen being in a state for when they would want a on-the-shelf release. The game won't be finished, but for Star Citizen to be an on-the-shelf thing, 2025 is sort of my current guess. Do you think we'll be able to make money with the Polaris via missions, or do you think it will be a money sink for PvP? I think there will be ways of making money with that, and with some capital ships, as long as you use them in the right situations. If you constantly run them, I think they're going to be a bit cost prohibitive. But the Polaris isn't huge. It's a Corvette, and I think they'll be able to run it sort of like ships and missions out of it as well. But yeah, there'll be like the mid-tier missions, probably for like clearing pirate bases and things that the Polaris will be perfect for. Or taking out a single like large ship. Do you think they do a virtual CitizenCon event? I mean, in the future, I think that they'll run events alongside CitizenCon. And yeah, I mean, they even they've got locations that could technically use for running an event like that in game if they wanted to. Like they talked about, there's like an atrium in the new factory line shop in the middle of Microtech that can be used as a big theatre. It's a big amphitheatre. When are we going to play together? So as soon as Star Citizen is in a slightly more stable state, and Zin's working for me, so I don't have to spend any effort getting people in the game or working stuff out, and I can just play and mess around, then I will be online a lot, and I will start organising stuff on the Discord and events in game, and playing when we stream, and actually more gameplay. Hey, what's the difference between turret missile to regular missile? Do you think turret will strong? Question mark. So the benefits of having missiles on a turret or having a specific missile operator for them is that it can track a different target and it can sort of concentrate on firing them at the right time. Whereas if the pilot's doing it, they're doing a lot of other stuff at the same time. Also, I suspect that when you have sort of missile turrets, there's better sort of tracking and radars and stuff going on there as well. Targeting. You can be a pirate, yeah. There's sort of like outlaw missions. There's if you blow up people's ships and they've got items on board, sometimes they drop some of them, is the idea. Really, we need physicalized cargo done properly so that we can take that cargo around, which is coming in the not too distant future. I also expect to see some, like with Grimhex getting updates, expect to probably see salvage yards and things like that get updates as well soon, with the potential for like being able to steal ships and sell them there, and same with cargoes. No confirmation of when that is, and that's just a I reckon, so bear that in mind. But there's other missions in game that encourage you to take out other players and stuff and cause a bit of a scene. Do you think Cloud Imperium will increase the distance you can see players? I'm going to buy so many ships. Yes,
Love
I do.
The content still waiting for Merchantman lol.
Shiro, thank you very much for the money. Still waiting for the Merchantman, so am I. So it is one of my most anticipated ships. I mean, I'm quite enjoying the Carrack, don't get me wrong. But I need more of the sort of exploration mechanics to come out with the Carrack to make me happy. Yeah, I think the Banu is pretty exciting. Thank you very much, Shiro, for the money. That's very much appreciated. Are you star? What were we talking about before that? Yeah, so I would expect the distances players going to be seen at to be a lot further once they have dialed in a bit more of the sort of like item cache server tech and probably a server-side server meshing and server-side order container streaming stuff. But yeah, I would eventually expect you both to see players at quite a long distance. Will planetary bodies orbit around other objects in the future? Yes, that's what the plan is. That you will have planets orbiting the sun and moons orbiting the planets. Any news about being able to configure ships to spawn with snubs or ground vehicles inside already? Yeah, so vehicle in ship spawning, they want to have. I think it might be a 3.11 thing now. Will there be booty and booby physics? Well, to a degree, I suppose. Will it be the same as like Dead or Alive in the sort of like... That's me playing volleyball. How old I am. I remember them, they had proper jiggle physics. Has CIG ever stated what specific ships will be able to operate out of the Idris and Javelin? So, the service ships, I think, are supposed to be the MPUVs. That hasn't fully specified all the ships that they can take, no. Because if you're talking about, like, the Javelin can have, like, a hoplite in there. And the Idris can have lots of different fighters in there. They haven't specified the exact all the exact ships that will perfectly fit in there. No. You'd be Bill Gates because of your influence in the Star Citizen community. Do I have influence? I mean, I think people like me would agree with me, even if they shouldn't agree with me. I hope that people would happily have their own opinions. I'm constantly always wrong about all of my life choices, so please bear that in mind. And failure is an option. That's if I had a family motto, that's what it would be. Failure is an option. It's a totally viable option. It's fine. Strive for success. It's okay to fail. Perfect. Done. I appreciate that some people like me. I know a lot of people. I don't know. Some people. I know a few people dislike me the way I talk, or they think I'm like a massive shill, whereas I'm only like a mid-level shill. Thank you very much, whatever that was. Appreciate it. Someone sent me something. That was. But I don't wield my influence in a way that would. I don't brigade anything. I don't think. I actively avoid Spectrum and those sort of conversations. Well, I don't. I use different accounts to post and talk about certain things when it comes to certain ideas. The only things that I'll use my main account for on Spectrum, I suppose, is the AMAs. Although I'll probably switch. Some people were annoyed at me for the AMAs because I get a load of my questions answered. But those of my questions are from people that watch my videos that have put questions in my question section. But I get a load of my questions answered sometimes. I think it's because my questions are typically reasonably good, and I ask them according to the rules. But I probably will switch to one of my alt accounts for that, even so that people can't say I'm getting preferential treatment. I've noticed the transition between animations is extremely clunky. Any updates on this? Yeah, they're working on making them better. They've been working on lots of stuff for that very recent. It is jittery, it is janky. I think they're working on the Banu Merchantman guys. I think they're working probably on the Polaris first. Maybe. I don't think the teams are as static as that. I think they have team members that move around constantly. A lot of the ship guys are working on interiors and stations and locations as well. Like, the people that can build locations are sometimes the same people that build ships. And a lot of them are working on Squadron 42, so... Can I be a VR tattoo artist? That sounds amazing. What else we got? Pics of Zin. I'm not going to start checking pics of Zin around. You may see her face at some point when she works for me, if she wishes to reveal herself on webcam. She has previously. She's got a Twitch, got a YouTube as well. I'm not sure if there's anything on her YouTube yet, but she'll be working with me. You'll see her on stream sometimes. You'll hear her a lot. Riddick, never bend the knee. Never bend the knee. Take that as you want it. Where is the land mining vehicle? Well, Star Citizen Leaks said it was the Rocket. Rocket? Why did I say Rocket? Not Rocket. Grey Cat. Industrial rock. Mining vehicle, and they said it was potentially for 3.10, but that's not 100% confirmed, and it's just a leak. So, can we see it for 3.10? Yeah, it's possible. be great if players could build their own structures. I mean, players are going to be able to build on the ground on planets with the Pioneer at the very least. There may be some other options as well for building defences and exploiting and using things on the ground. But could we build stations in the future? It's a possibility. Station management was one of the things that CIG had planned. Is it true that anyone who has a problem with you is a certified grade A wanker? No, that's not true. People are entitled to their opinions. People are entitled to dislike me if they want, I suppose, as long as they're not like being aggressive or threatening or constantly, you know, spreading misinformation. That's the ball. Like saying that I said things I haven't said, which is one I commonly see. So, oh, BoredGamer said this. No, I didn't. BoredGamer, oh, what's the he's done this. No, I haven't. You're lying. You made shit up. I'm not sure if you've been told that, you've mistaken that, or I mean, someone, what was it? Someone said that I said there was going to not be any more wipes in the game. I was like using it to say, oh, Bod doesn't know his talk, but he said there's going to be no more wipes in the game. Well, there's not going to be any more wipes in the game eventually. And he looked at a title of a video which said no more resets, which was talking about when there will be no more wipes, which will be in the future. And also they got long-term persistence and explained what that was. That's what the video was. He looked at the title and went, oh, is this clickbait? Is this clickbait? And released a fucking butterfly. And use about the Hull C. So they're working on all the prerequisite tech for it at the moment. So the stuff that they need to get it into the persistent universe is being worked on now. Does that mean that it's going to be in 3.11 or this year? Maybe not 3.11. Maybe this year, though. How's your dad, sir? He's doing pretty well. They've given him a new targeted So his version of his lung cancer, which is unfortunately spread to his brain, which is fucking rough. It's shit. But there's good options compared to we have. Like, I'm in the UK, so we've got the NHS, which is fucking amazing. When it comes to things like this, where we'd be bankrupt. We'd all be bankrupt already. But he has these very, 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 very effective, useful, targeted cancer treatments for his brain cancer, for his type of cancer, that have been amazing, and like took him from being unable to get up in bed to now being able to cook, move around the house, have normal conversations again. Like, it's giving back my dad for at least a while, and hopefully, I'm praying for a miracle, but I'm also realistic, and we'll take each day as it comes. But I'm very thankful for what we've got. I'm very lucky that I live in the UK, and that I think like a month's treatment for all these is like 12 grand or something stupid. It was maybe, I mean, that's what my mother said, but she might be exaggerating. Do you still use head tracking? No, I haven't been using head tracking much. I've actually turned off FOIP and VoIP, or FOIP in game, and head tracking in game, because it is one of the leading contributors to stupidly high CPU use. But thank you very much for asking about my dad. It's appreciated, genuinely is. Such frustrations at these trials. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. People go entitled to their opinions. It's fine. It's your cross to bear if you hate someone, I find. Do you have they announced when they'll be focusing on frame rate issues, changing up their engine to run better? Yes, they're working on their Gen 12 renderer at the moment, which is going to be significantly more scalable and is going to have Vulkan integration, and eventually they're moving fully over to Vulkan. The actual full getting the game into a really, really nice polished state won't happen until a lot further in the future, in my opinion. But you'll probably see a big improvement with Star Citizen once they get that Gen 12 renderer in, and a big improvement once they get Squadron 42 released, because I suspect they'll bring all that engine polish over. Gib Kraken, yes, I agree. Does the glaive still have blades? I can't tell from those images. I don't know either. I would expect the scythe to still be rammy and be bladey. I'd also assume that the glaive is pretty stabby. How many concurrent players does Star Citizen expect to have? If Star Citizen expects to have 100 systems and 100,000 players, how can 1,000 players be in Stanton? Well, server meshing allows them to both to have as many players as they want in Stanton. So server meshing is each object container. So a ship, a room, a planet, they can all be a space station, an area of space, they can all be separate object containers. Server meshing will allow them to dynamically spin up or turn off each of these object containers to be their own servers if they need to be. Yeah? So you can have, and each server might have a bottleneck of 150 players. But they can nest them inside each other and it'll be fine. Praying for your father. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. I will take those prayers from any creed, religion, race, or anything and take them to the bank. It's very much appreciated. Since it's Alien Week and Alien Week is about to end, I think it needs to be asked: do you believe in aliens, or do you think they've visited Earth during the existence of humankind? I don't know to what extent aliens would exist in the real universe, IRL. Like, I believe on alien life on other planets. Yes. Yes, I do. Look at the vastness of space. Do I believe... and looking at the timescale of things, aliens are probably either super advanced or intelligent life is quite rare. That's the thing, isn't it? Or there's a great filter that we've already passed. We're getting to the stage now that we're going to be able to leave our planet. And if that's the case, then have we already passed the great filter? Because we're able to colonize other places, and even if there's like eventually if there's a supernova or something, we're able to survive outside of a space. I'll tell you what as well though, I've thought about what I want to do, what I want for my plans for my death. I want to be frozen. I genuinely want to be frozen. Cryogenic me up, baby. Make me an ice popsicle. People can come visit me. Maybe do it as a stretch goal one day for my channel, and be like, this is why I'm going to be interned. You can come and visit my frozen body. It'd be perfect. It'd be fucking great. In the future, when they think about Anthropoid, they go, this is what the perfect specimen of man used to look like. Oh. How we've changed. People do care about you, matey. That's very kind. Thank you. Do you know anyone making Star Citizen Machinima style shows like Red vs. Blue? So they used to be the one. There used to be some. I expect to see some in the future. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Well, I can. I just can't remember what they're called. The Parrot Boy. What was the Star Citizen Machinima? I think Star Citizen. People do make machinima, but I can't remember any of the names of any of it off the top of my head for some reason. Fiendish Feather, the one I was talking about. Fiendish Feather made some great machinima back in the day. What's this Star Systems are you most excited for? Already the Terra system and the Sol system. Like, I want to see that super futuristic human Terra sort of area, but I also want to see what they've done with our own solar system. Right, I am going to dash off in a second. The Gladius now has an item rack for guns. Will it only be able to hold guns, or will it only hold guns? And what other ships will we get outside storage compartments? Or get storage compartments outside? So, I think different ships will have different storage compartments based on the ship. Some will just have item racks. I'll bring this on the screen. So expect some ships to just have item racks on the back of the ship. Some of them to have them like the Gladius here. so like the side that comes out as like a little drawer. Some to have the item rack behind the chair. And so these can be for weapons or gear, based on the size of the rack. Like those racks will have different sort of like hard points that you can put different types of gear in. Will there be on-planet farming and animal farming? So there's going to be a space cow, and at least in the lore, there's space cow farming. I'd love it if players can do it as well. I don't see why not. Not sure to what extent they'd have to do the mechanic, because I don't want to be running around with an axe, just axing up space cows. Or punching them. The pilgrimage to Frozen BoredGamer sounds... I know, right? I'm very much into... Not cryogenics. Cryonics. Cryonics, that's the one. Cryonics when it's freezing people. If you could see any ship manufacturer size role, what would it be? I don't really know. I mean, I'd like to see a combat drone corvette from like sort of like Anvil or something. I think that would be pretty cool. I really love industrial stuff, but I think most of the industrial stuff's already covered. Space station builder. Will there be farming? Yes, there will be farming. What else have we got? Do you think they'll make the UI scalable as ultra-wides? Yeah, so I think it will be somewhat scalable. I mean, they've got to make it so that ultra-wide people can use it, yeah? To a good degree. Best ship for bounty hunting. For solo bounty hunting, something like the Hawk might be more effective for you. And if you're going to... also, the Cutlass Blue could allow you to expand into having like a crewman or two as well if you want to in the future, or do it solo. Crytex, thank you very much. Very much appreciated for the board game Subaru. "5 years ago, would put back my original backer pledge at 12 years of age." Oh. You were 12? What? What? Huh? Say, in the final game, when captured ships can be stored until they're destroyed. So when I capture or steal a ship, for example, from an NPC or player, will I keep the ship until it gets destroyed? Yes. When the game's done, yes. You'll be able to store that somewhere else. You might even be able to get that ship so that eventually it gets insurance. Even if you've stolen it, there might be a way of making it a legal ship. That's the sort of some of the expectations and hopes that we have. But it would be expensive and it would have to run through a lot of hoops. Do you think they'll ever let us mod our ships in-game, like when the game first started? You're going to have a lot of customization options for your ships in the future. Know anything about server meshing tests? They're working on various elements of server meshing at the moment. I don't know any specifics that aren't on like the roadmap, that aren't on the monthly report about server meshing tests. I know they've been building back-end services and everything's built with server meshing in mind now, and they're working towards that. I mean, they're finishing off the iCache. Hi. Is now a good time to get into this? Yeah, I mean, Star Citizen as a project's a cool thing to get into. If you wanted to sit down and play a game, there's other games that would suit you better at the moment. It is very alpha, but if you want to get involved with the project and have your sort of like opinion matter and your voice matter and get involved with that, potentially join an organisation, and then you can potentially have hundreds or thousands of hours of fun with an org doing your silly things that they do, or every major patch, you just have a look around and see what's new and what's changed, and that can be pretty good fun. It's pretty cool, but it is very much an alpha. It is occasionally very buggy. You're thinking about getting in with Shadow. Shadow's great. I really recommend Shadow for some people. If you've got a good enough internet connection, I think Shadow's great. They allow for tattoo in game. Could I get a BoredGamer emblem on my forehead? So decals and tattoos and bespoke things like that, I'm not sure if they're going to allow. I hope that there is a way of adding things like that to the game, even if you have to pay for them, or if they have to vet them. I'd love to see sort of like org logos available as decals you can put on your ship and potentially have as tattoos. When is the game releasing? So 3.10, the new major patch, is pegged to release, I believe, early July, but they said July. The Squadron 42, and we don't have a hard date on, but it's expected, at least I expect it, first half of 2021. And Star Citizen, I'd expect an on-the-shelf release of it 2025. Yes, 5 years away. But again, that is very much, I reckon. Yeah, it's Jason, there'll be more free flight weeks, so literally you can try the game for free for a week or so. Just watch gaming news feeds for when that comes back up, or watch my channel and then you'll know. Like and subscribe, give me money. And what year will they be close to even completing 100 systems? So they don't need 100 systems to be complete to get the game out. I mean, I'd probably be happy with 20 or 30. Sort of off-the-shelf release. So some systems they can do actually pretty quickly now that they've got their tools sorted, but they're still building this sort of architecture and the modular tech for a huge amount of stuff. Once that's all done, then it's just procedurally assisted tools to create a huge amount of the planets, and then the sort of like content with the dynamic mission system, the simulated economy, the quantum systems, all that sort of stuff, that takes over for most of it. They will need to have some hero locations with the landing zones and stuff, but that's what's going to take the time, those specific landing zones for specific areas. And Pro system, that's just got Ruin Station in. Most of the rest of it is just procedurally assisted planets and stuff. And there's lots of star systems that are going to be pretty empty, other than some high level enemies and some good mining opportunities and stuff like that. Right, I am about to dash off. So, thank you very much for joining me today. It is very much appreciated. I have no idea why people chuck so much fucking money at me, or subscribe to me, whatever, but I do appreciate it. I think I do an okay job at covering the Star Citizen news. And I'm looking to expand. We're getting Zin working for me full time soon, which will be fucking great. I need to. I've sworn a lot today. It's because I'm tired. I can't keep my swears in. We're gonna go see who else is streaming. So I wanted to stream a bit longer today, but I'm just too tired. I need to have sleepy poo-poos. You heard. We are going to... We said that we were going to give Maya the raid next time. Cash raid. Maya. So, yeah, thanks very much for all the kind words about my father. I'm sorry that I'm a bit tired today. I'm genuinely a bit ill. I've got a sore throat. I'm very, very, very tired. I've been a bit overworked when it comes to just not having enough time to do stuff during the day. So, looking forward to 3.10. We could have a wider PTU as early as this weekend, but I would expect it more likely at the moment. Sort of early to mid next week at the moment for a wider PTU. Thank you very much for sharing your kind words and sympathies for my father. I'm sorry that some people have obviously had similar problems or whatever. But yeah, thank you. Genuinely cool. Oh, man. I'm looking forward to a nap. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care. And 3.10, woo! Aliens, woo! Thanks for supporting the channel. Talk to you soon.